All right, guys, in this episode of the Fit Rockstar Show, we have the beautiful, sensational, she is top Olympian, IFBB Pro, Dennie. Did I say your first name right? See, I didn't say Princess Leia.
Yes, yeah. Leah, usually people like to say Leia, so I don't like to correct them anymore. So you did fantastic.
Good, thank you. You're looking big. Those arms, I mean, I like the pink on you. So where are you right now?
I am in Sedona, Arizona on vacation for my birthday.
Okay, 25. All right,
Yes,
represent.
yeah. Well, flip it and add one. Yeah. So,
Oh, no way. Seriously.
yeah. Yes.
You look amazing. How do you
Thank you.
maintain your youth? I mean, what's the secret?
Lots of peanut butter. No. Um, I have no idea. It's one of those things where when I was younger, I didn't take care of my skin very well. And now as you get older, you start thinking about the fact that you should have done it years ago. But I don't know. I think just staying happy helps you stay young and, not a lot of negativity in my life or anything. So,
You do have a great positive mindset. And the reason why I bring it up is because, you've competed in the Rising Phoenix, the Olympia, and you're pretty much kicking these young girls' asses. I mean, I'm going to call it it's true, though. You've done very well. You're an excellent poser. Again, your conditioning is phenomenal. I know at the Rising Phoenix last year, you was the talk of the show because a lot of people weren't expecting you to come in there and do so well as you did. How did that make you feel, knowing that some people were threatened by you?
well, I guess ignorance is bliss because I had no idea, one way or the other. I just go about taking care of myself and what I want to do. And if somebody wants to put my name in a conversation, positive or negative, I don't really have control over that. So it's always interesting to hear after the fact because, I can look at everybody and just go, oh, I brought my best or, I maybe could have done a little bit more, but at that point it's out of your hands and you just go have fun.
So what was you like as a kid? I mean, were you bodybuilding your whole life or you just get into it like by accident? How did that come about? What would you like? I want to know what the little baby version of you was like.
Stupid. No, I'm probably more of a jokester and getting into everything, but I stayed very active. I did a lot of sports and not well. I think I remember probably what changed my mindset the most was being a terrible gymnast at the YMCA because my mom couldn't really afford, single mom couldn't afford to put me into better gymnastics. And, it was like the first day and they're like, throw back handspring. I was like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
So, my wrist collapsed and they're like, go do a mill circle regrasp. And I fell on my head because
oh my God.
bar. And I was like, so, that just kind of gave me the passion. But I remember doing the balance beam and falling like 100 times and walking off right before my dismount. And my mom just literally chewed me out, had her finger in my face, just saying, don't ever quit anything. And I think that just kind of began that, you're going to have hard times. You're going to maybe look stupid. Sometimes you didn't expect for things, but you just have to kind of grab your bootstraps and get back out there and do what you do.
I love that. How did you get into the bodybuilding? What was it that motivated you to do that?
So when I was in high school, I used to work out with the football team. I was a volleyball player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we maxed out a lot and I could throw up like 225 at 15. So it was one of those things where, I didn't do it for reps, but we maxed out a lot. Yeah, it was. So I got teased a lot for being strong and had a little tiny car. So they go like, just pick your car up and move it. And then, fast forward, I played collegiate sports and did all that. And then one day I was just in the gym and somebody said, hey, you should do something like this. And I was transitioning out of a marriage and going, I used to watch Corey back in the day and Rachel and, Linda, of course, all the great athletes and bodybuilders. And I thought, yeah, that would, I would love to do that. And
But so how
start.
did somebody see that you're already built for the bodybuilding, or did they just?
Uh, I had zero context of how big or small people were. So
Right.
I've been told my whole life I was too big. And then I kind of felt like, you don't have any context. And then that same person goes, but you're going to have to lose like 30 pounds. And I was like, what? So they gave me a number, I think like 125. And I go, I think I was born maybe 110.
Right.
So there was no way in my mind I could get there. So when I started competing, it was physique. And it was literally, if you put a morsel of carbohydrate in your mouth, you're wrong. Don't ever do it. Stay flat, get conditioned, and don't ever eat.
Walk me through your first show. When you competed on stage for the first time, what was that like?
Complete disaster. It was, so I hired someone, he's since passed, and I paid up front, gave a whole bunch of money, and paid for his partner to pose me. And
Sure.
I rented a suit, and it said don't modify it, so I didn't know, like, I had to adjust the straps on the back to fit me. So I was literally a train wreck and didn't didn't know how to do anything. So
Jeez.
one of my friends pulled me aside that was working backstage and said, you might want to eat something, you might want to drink a little bit. And so it was just that experience made me want to try again.
Sure.
And when I tried with a different coach, then I started going, okay, I see how it is. And that's really what led me into, kind of volunteering with the NPC so that I would be there as a safety net if somebody was just like deer in headlights, like I was, like, hey, come over here, let me help you.
So what would you do, like volunteering? Were you backstage, like an expediter or?
Yeah, I started as an expediter, did some scoring, and then that helped me later, have an opportunity as a promoter.
Mm-hmm. How long did you promote shows for?
About 5 years. And right around the COVID shutdown, my venue was not available. So then I had linked up with another partner,
Sure.
another promoter, and just said, hey, and he said, let's do it in 6 weeks. And at that point, I just realized, it was kind of, with full-time job and being a promoter, you need to put more of your heart and soul into it. And I was always 100% about the athletes, but it was hard to really promote as a no name in Texas, So
And Texas is a huge state. You guys got a lot of shows there, right?
a lot, yes.
What was your first, like when you won your pro card, what was that like? That experience, that rush?
I can't even remember, other than not remember, but I was doing 3 categories and it was literally just here, go here, go here, go here. And I was 45. So it was literally, compete, step back on stage, step back on stage. And at that point, my coach and nutritionist, they were 2 different people. They go, we're going to let you have some carbohydrates. And I was like, oh my God. So for the first time, I had a burger and fries and saw like myself filling out.
Did that taste good when you had that burger and fries going down?
Yeah, except for they called me and they're like, okay, yeah, you're on stage in 30. So like
God.
little food baby feel, but it was amazing. And then we did our routine. I think my routine was at midnight. And
midnight.
Yeah, it was one of those things that.
Okay, so where was this at?
I was at the Masters Nationals.
Oh,
so.
Midnight.
Yeah, and I felt well, and I was also doing crossing over into bodybuilding. So, well, no, that was the first, but this was where I wasn't really sure where I was going to be. So it was the test of what do you look like full? What do you look like, shredded?
So in this show, were you allowed to cross over in multiple divisions then?
So that was actually probably my first national. So I went pro on my 4th show, I guess my 2nd national show. So the first time I did bodybuilding and women's physique, and I placed higher in bodybuilding, but I was kind of pushed towards physique
Sure.
just based on the rumors and things. And I was like, well, wherever my body fits is where I'm comfortable.
When did you
So
decide I'm going to go bodybuilding?
in 2018, I did, I don't even remember what year. I think it was it might have been 2018 also, but I did the Arnold
Hmm.
and I placed 10th in women's physique and then jumped over into a local show and placed last. And it was literally
In women's
maybe
physique.
having a cup of rice a day.
Wow. Yeah.
And it all of a sudden it was like, you're a bodybuilder now. And I was like, well, oh, okay. I literally did very little difference. And I was like, that's cool. And Johnny Jackson was a friend and he
Oh, wow.
kind of said, I'll help you out. And he helped me kind of go. I went to Romania and did my first show and
Mhm.
I didn't do my part. He did his part. I did not do my part.
What was your part?
Staying on diet.
Oh,
I went there a little early and went to
sure.
Dracula's castle
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
was eating out of gas stations.
Were
So
you nervous or just you didn't really?
no,
Focus?
that transition to bodybuilding was a transition out of some other things that were
Sure.
going
Sure.
on. And
Gotcha.
it was just a trip for me.
Sure.
And it was a way to kind of just test the waters. But in hindsight, it's one of those things where I wouldn't say insulting, but I don't want to insult the judges or the other
Sure.
competitors by not doing my best. And
Sure.
that kind of was a wake up call of like, hey, it's really not fair to yourself or everybody else if you're not doing what you need to be doing.
Right.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
And again, you've proven yourself because you're one of the top rated athletes in women's bodybuilding, time and time again. And that's very impressive. I mean, you inspire me. Just seeing you, it's like when you have your mind set to something, that's it. It's game over. You're focused 110%. So I want to congratulate you for making the Masters Olympia. And I will tell you right now that your name is at the top of who probably will win the Masters Olympia. So that's, I think that you can pull that off 100%. And your coach, you work with GINA, right?
Yes.
So I believe ever since you've worked with GINA, you've brought in a whole different package. Like just the conditioning's been there. I mean, I don't know, training wise, in your opinion, in the last few years, what is your best look to date that you like?
I really liked my Rising Phoenix look last year.
Yeah.
It was, I just felt great. We were trying something different in terms of carving in, and I was eating and happy. And
Happy, that's a key right there.
yeah. To me, it's GINA was very, I guess, a godsend in the sense of I've had great coaches, I've had well-named coaches, and I don't require a lot of attention, but at the end, it's, you need another set of eyes
Sure.
and that accountability. And Gina, kind of to your point with the training, she actually wrote out the training plans for me. I've always done my own. She just, I wouldn't call it annoying because it was actually, she's a great friend. But I was like, oh my God, it's time to check in again. But she makes you accountable. And I think that's good because I'm accountable to myself. But if somebody was not paying attention as a coach or something, I would never speak up just because I go, okay, I got this. I don't want to be a pain.
But don't you think that it's best to speak up if obviously there's something on the diet or training that you're not familiar with, that it's good to do that though, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't think it was so much the diet or I didn't have programming from them. It was more cardio, but
Gotcha.
I was adding my own cardio in because I was not seeing the changes and I should have said something and it's not, I take that 100% on myself. To your point, yes,
Sure.
you say something, you speak up, but to me, I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm super accountable to myself and I'll hold myself accountable, but I've not had the best. I need to learn to put those guardrails in and hold other people accountable too.
So with the Masters Olympia coming up in August, are you going to be doing any shows before that, or just focus on the Masters Olympia?
Just focus on the Masters. Originally, I had looked at maybe Puerto Rico or something, and Atlanta. There's lots of different things that were interesting, but the reality is, I have a full-time job. I have limited vacation. I do want time with my family to travel, so I don't want to burn all my vacation days doing competitions. Not that, I mean, I would love to do more, but it's just not feasible.
Not trying to be rude, not rude, but nosy. But what do you do for work? Because I know you're always busy.
Yeah. I am a pharmaceutical sales rep for oncology.
Wow.
So I work with, metastatic cancers.
Yeah. Wow. Do you travel a lot? Is it mostly from home, or you just?
So as a sales rep, you're going into offices and selling, and
Sure.
so I'll have some travel. Actually, the next month I have a week-long sales meeting.
Wow.
Or next month, and then the following month I have a conference I have to work. Last month I had a conference to work, so I don't have to sell too far away from my home anymore. I don't have to fly to my sales geography, but it's a lot of road time.
Am I going to be seeing you at the Dallas Pro?
I usually work, but in terms of well, did they announce something? I don't know.
No, I just thought it's you're in
No.
Texas. I thought it's in I think it's in June, so it's always nice to see your face. So my point to that is, are you going to be showing your face anywhere at the shows, even though you're not competing right now till August?
Yes, I'll be around, and anywhere you are, I will make it a point to see you because I say, and you didn't bring this up, but you talk about inspiration and the people that are important in your life. And I think I told you once before, I met you in person at Europa, which I think was called Fit Expo, You Be Fit. So
yes, you be fit. Yes.
yes. So, and I met you for the first time, and just, you have an energy about you. You're just very full of life, and then also honest. And I think a lot of people just need to hear that honesty, but also sincerity. Is you can tell me like, yeah, you look like crap, or you look great, and I take that as somebody willing to care enough to say something to you.
Sure.
And I think that's you kind of talked to me there, and I won't bring that up unless you, but it just made me feel good about myself, and that was the first time in women's bodybuilding that I felt I belonged.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple other athletes that have said things to me early on when I started, but you took time to talk to me, and I really appreciate that.
I think you're an amazing woman, and I do remember the Fit Games, or what do they call it? You be
we're
you.
gonna get in trouble.
You be you. This year it's the USA Fit Games.
Yes.
But yeah, we had to meet the Olympians. And
Yes.
you were there with a whole bunch of our top Olympian people. And yeah, it's funny because I can see it in my head now. Dressed up, looking like you're going to the Oscars. You're always looking very classy and sharp. And no matter where you are, you're always, and I looked at you and I was very impressed because you are a phenomenal bodybuilder. What you bring, your positivity, you're very genuine. Forgive me for using this word, but there is no BS with you. What you see is what you get, and you have the kindest heart. And more than that, we become friends. And, I want to thank you for being there for me because, as you know, I had some difficult times, where I needed a friend to talk to give me some insight. And you smacked me around and brought me back to earth. So I appreciate that. And, I really want to see the best for you. I want to see you be very successful. I do think that you can Spank those girls' asses in the Masters Olympia and do very well. You're one of those people that don't don't put me down for the count, because you're like Rocky. You just keep on, boom, 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 boom. And like I said, if you are 53 or going to be, God bless you, because you don't look it. And again, age is just a number. And so let me ask you this, because here's the interesting thing. Yes, you're competing in Masters. So a lot of people, but you also compete in Open. A lot of people feel once they compete in Masters that they're labeled as a Masters competitor from now on.
Yeah.
They can never go back in the Open and do well. I disagree with that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's funny because I got a lot of people kind of side commenting because I went pro at Masters.
Sure.
So I started as a master and was seen, a lot of people don't know me from before. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, how did you get here? Oh, you were a master then and you're competing in Open. This will be my first Masters level competition as a pro,
Right.
not because I decide one is better or lesser than the other, but to me, if you're going to represent your age group and you're going to say that I support the industry, then you need to support when people are going to step up and put a master's event out to this level. I felt I really needed to be there and I wanted to be there because I'm not, you want to put me in a category, fine. If you want to say you did master, so we're not going to look at you over here, then, I think that's a mistake. I don't really know if that's true or not, but it doesn't matter to me because I'll still show up and try to do my best if you're 22 or 82. It's once I step on stage, it's work and it's fun, but I'm not there to lose. I'm
No,
gonna go
you're
out
definitely not there to lose.
so.
I've seen that. I've seen the look in your eyes when you're on stage. You're there to win. Are we going to see green? I know you wear a lot of green. Are we going to see some green at the Masters? You're going to change your colors?
It's it's hard because I have a hard time finding the right fit of a suit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So when I have my suit, it's not, I have green eyes. I like
Right.
green,
You do love green.
but I think it's more just because I've gotten suits and at the Olympia, I wore a different suit that was made for me and it just did not look good on me.
Sure.
It was awful.
Mhm.
And I was dead last at Olympia. And it was not because of the suit. It was not because of anything other than it was not meant to be for me, other than that placing. But that kind of taught me go with what looks good on you and the fit and the color matters. So I haven't really thought about it, but I guess I better think about it.
You better think about it.
Yeah.
So I noticed you got balance in your life. Obviously, you have a full-time job. You're doing the bodybuilding. Obviously activities, going on vacation. You have a nice balance. What advice would you give? Because some people just live bodybuilding. You can't really do that full time, can you? I mean, you got to have some balance of doing different things. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree. And it's a shame to see people that get so wrapped up in, what other people think of them, or, you think of bodybuilding, I'm going up there for a purpose to literally be judged for my flaws
Right.
and be held against me.
Yeah.
And also for the positive things. And I think you get sucked into this vicious cycle of measuring yourself by how others see you instead of really going out there and going, I have a passion for it, I do it. But, some people might be you might make a comparison that, yeah, you're 53, you're still doing it. So it's been long. Well, I started at 45, but I also started when I was a child and building myself up. And I didn't stay focused on just one aspect. You have to be a full person.
Yes.
And if nobody just showed up one day and was a bodybuilder, they had those other things in their life. And if you forget that, then you will alienate people, you'll alienate your family, you'll lose sight of what's truly important. And if you throw all those, eggs, I guess, into one basket, then you might be a little disappointed later in your life. So,
You
you know,
started at 45 years old. So what would be your advice to people out there who are afraid to jump into, say, bodybuilding because they think I'm too old to do it? What would you
yeah.
tell those people?
I think when I've talked to other people in the past, the best thing to remember is why you're doing it. So, there was a debate as somebody that worked backstage, as a promoter, as an athlete, that everybody wants to see a certain thing on stage. Yeah, if you want to win, there's criteria, there's going to be a look, there's going to be a certain amount of sacrifice needed to look a certain way.
Hmm.
But if your goal is to get into the sport because you love it, or you want to do something better with your life, have something to aspire to be, then I say go for it. It doesn't really matter what your age is, but
Sure.
you have to have the realistic look of there's genetics involved, there's work. You can't just show up and be someone that's never lifted a weight and expect to be a top level bodybuilder, or maybe even a bodybuilder at all.
Sure.
And you see these people grow into categories, but that's based on your body and your work. So you have to start somewhere, and the best thing to do is go, don't worry about what happens later. I want to be Miss Olympia, I want to be this. Literally go, what can I control now? Talk to some people, get some good advice. You don't have to spend a ton of money or find the best of everything. You
See,
just
but they
literally have
think that
to.
you do have to spend a ton of money.
Well, I started that way, spending a ton of money with a coach that basically ignored me and
Right.
stuck me on stage with, you know, nothing to help me. But I actually placed third, and I think that was a gift, but
Right.
it literally taught me that it's not about throwing money at something. It's literally going, be informed,
Mhm.
know what it is that you want. Don't let someone else try to push you where you don't want to be, and literally go make it happen.
Hmm. I like how you said about the coach thing, about the money, because people think, okay, well, if this coach is worth $5,000, let's just say that's a kind of a high number, but if he was the best in the world. Not necessarily just because the coach is charging so much money, it's not really the best in the world, because like you went through, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. Like some others do too. These coaches, you pay them this money, and they're nowhere to be found.
Mhm.
What do you do in a situation like that? I mean, what would you tell somebody who's just wanting to start out, like how to find a coach? What do
Yeah.
you look
I
for?
get, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I get a lot of side messages asking. I used to coach, and it was not something I could keep up with. Doing certifications, things like that is hard, and the balance was not there for me. Um, but the first thing is to try to be accountable first to
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm.
Literally write down what you eat, what you do, what your exercise schedule is, what your balance in your life is, what you need, and then start asking around for coaches. If you just start sending messages to the elite coaches that have successful athletes under them, you're going to be disappointed,
Right.
because I've fallen into that before, where I go, this I've been around, I kind of know what to do, but I would like a different set of eyes,
Mhm.
maybe try something a little different. Well, you could be one of 500, you could be one of five, and you have no idea.
Mhm.
And you'll hear in the industry that some coaches have their favorites, and they spend a lot of time with them. Look and see what the athlete is that what did that athlete look like before they went to those coaches, and are they just genetically gifted
Mhm.
and they have a coach to help them, or did this coach miraculously create something out of nothing, this lump of clay, and they molded them?
Mhm.
It's You got to be realistic and say, a lot of these top coaches, and nothing against them,
Sure.
have great athletes.
Sure.
They
Sure.
just do,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and
true.
that gets them a better name.
Oh, of
you know
course. We see it a lot. Being a promoter, when you go to a lot of these shows, what is some of the things you see that you're like, I wish they would have done this way? Like everybody talks about lighting, black curtains, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, for like So let's say put on a women's bodybuilding show. What is your ideal, like, what would you like to see at a show?
Well, I think the support of fans is really important, but put that aside and you think about if you're talking professional
Professional.
or
It doesn't matter.
amateur, those are very different, I think, because I'll speak more to the amateur side because that's where I was a promoter. This is about the athlete experience. And you want to make it affordable to be on stage. And whatever you choose as a promoter to make your stage look like, fantastic. I mean, I love to see a great stage. I love to see the hoopla, the lighting, the everything like that, but make the experience about the athlete and make sure that your hair and makeup is good, your tanning people are good. The pricing, a lot of people are priced out of shows, or they buy the most expensive suit when they could have bought something less expensive and had a better experience because they had, they didn't have to cut corners later.
Sure.
So, the first thing I always did was talk to the people that signed up for my show, help them navigate it. If they said that, they wanted, what should I be spending for this, that, or the other? You always support the people, the tanners, the hair and makeup that are official.
Sure.
But you also have to be reasonable that not everybody can afford everything. So, what I like to see is quality trophies, awards, quality recognition, giving people their time and on stage. And yes, you have to keep a show moving, but finding a better way to not have somebody sitting backstage for 10 hours,
Right.
And not eating or being uncomfortable.
Or going on at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, well, I mean, you give somebody a schedule and you try to stick to it, but you can't control how many people sign up for your show. It's easy for me to say that because I had maybe 250 across the stage, whereas somebody having 800, that's a very different scenario.
Yeah, of course.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
Yeah.
But, make it about the athlete, make them comfortable because those people also bring their fans, their family, their friends. And then I do love the way now they have the broadcasting so that people can see remotely. I think that's been a great move.
I think so too with the pay-per-view and stuff. And yeah, you can't go wrong with that at all. Especially when you have good commentators.
Yeah. Do you know any?
And
No, I'm kidding.
producers. No, I actually don't. But so what's your prep with GINA getting ready for the Masters? Oh, what's the center? What are you focusing on? If you can give away those.
I'll give away anything. The hardest, well, we're trying to bring up my right bicep again because I had some injuries there.
Sure.
Always injured on my shoulders. So my shoulders are usually strong,
Yeah,
but
shoulders.
they can overwhelm other parts of your body. So
Sure.
we're just looking at the symmetry between the biceps. I haven't really worked them as much because of injury.
Sure.
So maybe focusing a little bit there. Of course, back, you always need a thicker, wider back. But minimize the waist. That's just the reality. And then the conditioning on my glutes.
You
Usually
got good conditioning though. Looking at the list, is there anyone's names that stood out to you that you're like, oh, fudge? I guess, is there someone there that you're like, okay, my eyes are set on you, or you just don't really worry about the competition?
I hate to say it this way. I looked at the list for the people that I love and support, and I saw some names on there, people I really like, I love Rashana and Donna. I love them. I've competed against Vera before. It's literally Virginia, she's there. So people that I've crossed paths with, competed with, I just love seeing them.
When did you
But
compete with Vera?
pardon?
When did you compete with Vera?
Oh, that was in Canada.
Oh, the
In
Toronto.
women's physique.
She
Yeah.
came women's physique?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Yeah, because I only competed. Oh, well, no. That was Toronto. So yeah, that was bodybuilding.
Yeah, because she came
I was
in, what,
thinking Vancouver.
second? She did second, right? Or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
She was shredded, I have nothing
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, she's good.
that was a hard one for me, that competition, just because, again, you can look at everybody and go, I have no idea how I'm going to place. And that's where I just started to learn that's none of my business how anybody else is placing.
Right, yeah.
That, I take care of my own. But to answer your question about who's the threat, I think on any given day, everyone's a threat. And my goal will be to go in there and make it where there's no question that, I get in that top group.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You
you'll
know, that-
definitely be in the top group. If you're not winning the show, you're definitely either top 2, top 3. My 2
Well,
cents.
I appreciate your confidence.
I'm very confident because I know what you can do.
Well, I
So-
will make sure I bring my best. And I think, I shouldn't say I think, I know that this probably will be my best look.
Mhm.
I'm just going to throw that out there that I'm going to do the work required to bring up some parts that are lagging.
Sure.
You can only do so much at this age, but
Mhm.
focus on the parts that need to come up and then just get the conditioning where it needs to be. And our goal is to be ready a couple weeks early
Mhm. Good.
instead of just crashing in and trying to, because you're always going to come in flat if you do that. And
Mhm.
a lot of my feedback before has been, you don't have the depth, the 3D look. And I'm like,
The depth. You gotta love that.
yeah, I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty thick and dense and lots of muscle maturity.
Mhm.
So that to me is, you didn't feed in correctly, you didn't condition correctly. So,
Sure.
so those are things that are in control, and I'll work on them.
Are you gonna put in for the Rising Phoenix?
I did put my application in.
Good.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
And then we have the Olympia. If as you know, if you win the Masters Olympia, you qualify for the Olympia, which is a bonus. So-
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And it's funny because as soon as I saw the release for applications, I had no idea of anything associated with it, age, anything. It just said masters. I'm like, I'm in. You and I had talked a little bit about it, and I just said, put your money where your mouth is, support the masters, and hopefully get selected. And then if selected, go out there and do your best. And then when they said, yeah, you get an O invite, then, my business is still the same. Go in there and try to win.
Mhm.
And if I get that opportunity to go to the Olympia, then fantastic.
How much longer would you like to see yourself competing in bodybuilding?
Well, I've semi-retired a couple times before
Okay.
to myself, to my family,
Yeah.
but never publicly. But I think it's just, as long as the joy and the passion is there, I'll keep doing it.
You got a
And
lot of it.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I never would have seen myself here, because when I entered my first show, I was going to be one and done. And then it was like, yeah, but I didn't bring my best. Let's do it again.
Sure.
And let me just do it again. So
Looking back at your whole career, women's bodybuilding, you obviously made the right choice. Would you agree?
absolutely.
Yeah. What does women's bodybuilding mean to you?
Women's bodybuilding is, I think, just the epitome of beauty, athleticism, everything that you can be. And honestly speaking, a lot of people may not see women's bodybuilding as beautiful, but I think of it as symmetry. You cannot have any lagging body part. You
Right.
cannot not focus on every part of your body. And to me, that's truly what makes it so difficult to be successful in it, but then also just to make the time, because focusing, and not to take anything away from any other category, because it's literally, if your body is shaped for women's bodybuilding and you have the density and the capacity to do it, I think you should be doing it. And because it really will elevate your fitness, it will elevate what you thought you could accomplish. Because, people see me on the streets and they're just like, oh my God, how did you do that? And I was like, well, it's, 35 years, but
Right.
it's something that takes a lifetime to really do, and to truly put the work in, no matter if you can do it in 1 year or, you're just a freak like Andrea. And
I know,
and
right?
I say freak in a good way, if you have that density and the beauty and everything and can be successful, more power to you. It takes someone like me a lot longer.
Do
So
you know, interesting, do you know that next year they're gonna be requiring us to wear heels?
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I brought that up years ago and they're like, no one wants to see a big old bodybuilder in heels. And I was like,
I'm
oh,
joking, but
I
yeah, I
disagree.
would love that myself, but I can't
Yes.
imagine the liability on that with the girls would be breaking their ankles. I'd have my 8-inch heels on stage. I don't care.
I would go right there with you. I
Thank
think
you.
we should make our own category.
We should. Listen, if you come out to Dallas Pro, let's dress it up. Let's wear some heels, sport it up, show it off. How do you think we can get more people involved in women's bodybuilding, coming out to the shows and marketing it? What do you think we can do?
Uh, I think if I look at any problem, you have to unpackage it and you go, why aren't people looking at women's bodybuilding more? Why are they not supporting it? And that's a hard thing to answer,
Well,
because
here's the thing, right? So I don't think we have a problem. I just think that, in my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. Tell me what you think. I don't think the women bodybuilders are promoting themselves on social media enough. They're not tagging, like Wings of Strength or Olympia or the shows or the promoters. Listen, I mean, if they say they're going to do a show, we'll promote it. Help the promoter out. Let's sell these tickets. Let's sell these pay-per-views. I
yeah.
mean, would you agree with that? Because I don't think there's enough of that going on.
Yeah, I think if you look at it that perspective, so I think I misunderstood.
Sorry.
To get more shows, to get more opportunities, obviously there has to be a reason for a promoter to go at risk to bring that to their show, because that costs money. It costs time to their show. And if you really want to step up and say, make me part of it, then yes, you have to keep supporting it. You have to give them a reason to want to go at risk to bring that show,
Sure.
to bring that division.
It's kind of like,
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I think you make a fantastic point that Wings of Strength has been there, and we tag it, we've been ambassadors, we've done things like that, but we don't, as bodybuilders, go to promoters. I've gone to a couple of my friends that are promoters, be like, hey, I'm in Texas, there's so many bodybuilders in Texas, why not Texas women's bodybuilding?
Sure.
That's just a straight question.
Sure.
And when you look at the other divisions they bring, you think tickets, you think every other thing, but as a pro division, it's different. You have to have people in the seats, you have to have pay-per-view. And I truly think women's bodybuilding can continue to thrive if we go ahead and make some noise about it.
We need to make some big noise for sure.
But I
for
would
sure.
ask the promoters directly, like, why not?
Yeah.
Ask them what would help them see the benefit of bringing it.
So I know you're in Sedona right now. So I saw you put up that big list again of things you got to do. Like, that's crazy. That's a lot. When do you leave? For a few days?
Sunday.
Sunday. That's a lot of stuff. Well, you got plenty of time.
Well, I flew in Tuesday, went straight to a hike, and then went out to a nice dinner. And then, sorry, Gina. Um, and then the next day, did a hike in the morning, quick lunch back in the room, another hike, and then a sunset. So I've been doing 2 to 3 hikes now. Like today, I'll do 3 hikes. I've already done 2. So,
Yeah. Wow, good for you. How about working out? You working out while you're out there or no?
so I'll do a strength workout tonight.
Okay.
But I haven't in 2 days. I didn't do strength because it was just too many things to do.
Sure. Did you rent a Jeep?
I rented a SUV,
Oh,
but
excuse me.
well, I didn't mean to. I literally got the compact car, and they upgraded me. This has been
Did you do a gun flex on them?
I was like, better give it. No, I'm kidding. No, it was funny because they didn't have a car, and they go, "Do you mind if we upgrade it?" I was like, yeah, that'd be great."
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, listen, I'm going to let you get back to your vacation. I appreciate you taking the time for me, your buddy old pal,
Yes.
to talk to me for this interview. And again, once again, congratulations on the Masters Olympia. I think you're going to kick ass. I really do. You know, you're such an amazing bodybuilder and person. Beautiful mindset. And such positivity in the sport. I appreciate what you do. Keep on being you. And again, thank you so much. I'm going to leave this with you. If you have anything out there you want to say to your family, your friends, fans, whoever, say it.
Well, I was going to say to my family, if you ever watch, that they are my foundation and love my family more than anything, my 3 beautiful children and my mom and my sister. But for fans, just keep supporting women's bodybuilding, keep supporting, the Fit Rockstar show, everything. It really helps all of us because we need people advocating for us. And obviously, Isabel, you do a fantastic job, and you make all of us feel special.
Thank you.
And my goal always with fans is to try to answer everyone that I can, if you're respectful. So stay respectful, stay above the line, because that's I think we need more of that and more positive images and everything like that in our conversations. But I will leave you with a challenge. I think I did a breakdancing move.
Oh my God, I remember
And
that.
I don't remember you responding.
I did not respond back because I didn't want to bust my ass, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no. But maybe like the little spin on your butt or on your back, or
I can do a spin on my back.
with
like on the
with
floor?
the cardboard.
Okay.
You don't have to windmill or anything, but yeah.
Okay, so the challenge is I need to. Where would you rather have? Spin on my back or spin on my ass?
Oh, well, I think you start on your ass and then end on
Naked,
your back.
clothed, high heels, no high heels. What?
Well, I would think I've watched you jump into cars, through cars with heels on. So if you didn't have your heels on, then that would
I have my heels
really
on.
not be
Okay.
your thing. So
Okay.
heels for sure.
Okay.
And then I will try to respond in kind with something even more fantastic, which
Just-
would be really fun to do.
Just for the audience out there, no pressure on me, really. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do it. Sure.
Well, if you have to have help getting momentum,
What is that supposed to mean? I need to have help.
Well,
I'll
I
get
was going to say, I can spin you up like a top and then release you, but probably the best thing is all these moves require momentum, which I know you can generate. I've watched you run in heels like no one I've ever seen.
You know what I'll do? I'll get me a couple of Chippendale guys, right?
There you go.
Dress up really nice, my high heels, and then I'll have these guys and their little things spin me around. How about that?
So yeah, that's very different than the breakdancing. I think I like your move better.
I think I do too. Should they be in little thongs?
Oh, some yeah. I kind of like I kind of like the little shorts,
The little shorts. Okay.
the little tiny ones. The thongs, like, yeah, I kind of like a little bit left to the imagination.
Okay. So if they were near a nuclear power plant and it looks like they have a Coke can in their little shorts, I guess that's all good. All right. Well, Leah, again, thank you very much. And challenge accepted. Give me a few days to a week, which we'll see. Of course, Fit
You
Rock
can
Show.
unveil it in Dallas or at the
Unveil
Master
it.
Show.
I should do it right there in Dallas in front of you.
You should.
Right? It'll be fun. Listen, love, I thank you so much for being my friend and being there for me when I needed you. And again, thank you for being the person that you are. Amazing bodybuilder and overall amazing person. So thank you so much for being on my show. It's truly an honor.
Thank you. Honor was all mine.
Ciao.
Ciao.